Tonight, a stinking summer ahead. Bins could go unemptied from next month, leaving rubbish to pile up in the streets as council cleansing staff vote for strike action.
The rubbish will pile up in the streets of all our major cities in Scotland. We'll be taking action in all the major cities like Dundee, Glasgow, Aberdeen.
Also making the headlines, the couple hounded for payment of an energy bill for the house they haven't been able to live in since a gas explosion in their street 6 months ago. Xander Schauffele is crowned champion after a memorable open at Royal Troon. And the glitz and glamour of Bollywood arrives in Edinburgh as filming for a new blockbuster gets underway. I'm Kellyanne Woodland. This is the STV News at 6. Good evening. Trade unions are warning that Scotland is facing a stinking summer as council cleansing staff vote for strike action. The Unite and GMB unions joined unison in rejecting the latest pay offer from council leaders today. That means bins could go unemptied, leaving rubbish to pile up in the streets from next month. Well, our political editor Colin Mackay joins us now. Colin, what are the chances of a deal to avert this action?
Rubbish. Because COSLA has made a 3.2% pay offer, which they say is at the very limit of their affordability. But now that has been comprehensively rejected by all three council workers' unions. That means we could now face a repeat of the situation 2 years ago when the rubbish piled up high in the streets, the bins went unemptied. Now, between the three unions, there are strike mandates in 25 councils right around the country: Edinburgh, Glasgow, Fife, Ayrshire, Renfrewshire, Lanarkshire, the Lothian councils, Stirling and Clickmannon. And Unite is also reballoting in Falkirk and Argyll. The unions say the pay offer in Scotland is 2% lower than the pay offer in England. And that's about a £50 million shortfall, they say.
The rubbish will pile up in the streets of all our major cities in Scotland, and not just Edinburgh. People think we're doing this to target Edinburgh and the festival. We're not. We're targeting the whole of Scotland here. We'll be taking action in all the major cities like Dundee, Glasgow, Aberdeen.
What we need is council leaders to meet this week, an emergency meeting for them to get Scottish Government involved and to bring the funding for a resolution. But there is plenty of chance for us to find a resolution. We just need to move fast.
So the strikes aren't inevitable then?
They're not inevitable. We will be working with our sister unions over the coming days about naming industrial action dates, but they're not inevitable. If we can get Scottish Government funding, we can get the council leaders around the table, we can find an improved offer that will avert action.
So the GMB coming out with a plan to break the deadlock there. But there is some hope also after the weekend. Chancellor Rachel Reeves said that she would make a statement to Parliament this month on public sector pay. Now, if she agrees to pay rises, there could be consequential funding coming to the Scottish Government. And if that was put forward to the local councils, they could make a better offer. But there's an awful lot of ifs and buts in that, because if there is no more cash, then we are looking at another standoff and another summer of bin strikes.
And Colin, there's a potential jobs threat elsewhere, isn't there?
Yeah, Harland and Wolff, the big shipbuilders, famous obviously for the Titanic, is in deep financial trouble. And it's not just their big Belfast yard. The company also employs around 400 people at Arnish in the Western Isles and Methil in Fife. Now, the company has asked the UK government to guarantee a £200 million loan, but Labour's new Business Secretary Jonathan Reynolds has refused, warning that it would be too big a risk of taxpayers' money. The GMB union is calling for urgent talks with both the UK and the Scottish Government to try and save the Scottish sites and the Scottish jobs.
All right, Colin, with the latest there, thanks very much. The heartbroken family of a Glasgow man who was found dead in a canal 5 years ago today have issued an emotional plea for witnesses to come forward and help confirm what happened to their loved one. Johnny Connolly was found with severe injuries in Spears Wharf. It's unknown if 3 men seen in the area on CCTV have ever been identified. Police say inquiries have been completed but say any new information would be investigated thoroughly. Ollie Dickinson reports.
He was just the biggest word was gentle. You would always feel safer in him. He was just a normal young boy, he liked his football, he played as a goalie. He was just a gentle, peaceful person.
It's been 5 years since 28-year-old Johnny Connolly left his mum's flat in Milton to head into town and collect his wages. The chef, who loved football and being with his friends, had made the journey many times before. But this time, he didn't come home.
He'd been out all night, and it wasn't really like him if he was out. Like, staying with one of his friends, that would come home maybe at 11 at night, or if he stayed overnight, he'd be back in the morning. And that day, when he came back... You were just starting to get a bad feeling, weren't you? Aye. I made his dinner and that, and so he wasn't here for his dinner. And I'm looking for every bus getting in, like I'm praying that my boy's going to come off the bus.
7 days later, Johnny's body was found here, in the water at Spears Wharf. He had injuries to his head and body. At the time, an email seen by STV News shows Police Scotland were considering his death as suspicious. But 5 years on, the family don't have confirmation of what happened as he walked home along this path that night.
To me, I believe what happened. I know that my brother was attacked on that night, so it just makes things worse. It's confusing because how anybody could hurt him is just beyond me. There's no badness in my brother, so it must have just been evil that night.
On the evening Johnny died, 3 men were seen in the area on CCTV. We asked Police Scotland if they had ever come forward. They declined to tell us.
What would you say to someone who's watching this tonight who maybe is scared to come forward, thinks they know something, or maybe thinks what they've seen isn't relevant? How would you appeal to them?
If it was one of your sons or daughters and you were in my position that I'm in, you would be hoping somebody'd come forward and try and put an end to this. Find it in your conscience, your heart.
Our reporter Ollie Dickinson there speaking with the Connolly family. Other news tonight, and residents on an Edinburgh street where a man was killed in a gas explosion last December say they've been hounded over energy bills for their homes, despite not being able to return to their properties since the incident on Babberton Mains Avenue. One couple has told STV News it's an insult to injury after their house was incorrectly sent bills, reminders and threats of escalation, even after they informed Scottish Power they weren't living there. Lewis Mickey has the story.
Payment reminders, payment demands, escalated collections.
Mary and Sam Porteous have lived in Babberton Mains Avenue for 47 years, but after a gas explosion in December, they've not been able to return to their home. 84-year-old James Smith, who lived a few doors down, died in the incident, which was found to be caused by internal gas installations. 8 properties in this street are still cordoned off until the area is made safe to return to. If that wasn't bad enough, Mary and Sam have still been receiving electricity bills, demands for late payments and letters hounding them over the charges.
They think that we've sold our house, which obviously we haven't, but we had an original account with them and they gave us a rebate for not living in the house. And then they closed that account. I had the help of my social worker. After that, we've been getting letters from them, threatening letters from them, asking for well over £1,000.
There's been nobody in the house since the 1st of December, 10 p.m. on the 1st of December 23. And they're still sending us bills. The social worker that we've got, she's texted them, she's emailed them, she's written to them. If you want to send welfare people to the site, send them. Or a debt collector, send them, and you'll see the situation for yourself. They actually sent us a letter after our bills and everything were paid. It came about 2 weeks later, saying that we're glad to see you back in your new home, except here's your bill. And I says to Mary, they should be hauled over the coals for that, just adding insult to injury.
After more than half a year, it's taking a toll.
I suffer from atrial fibrillation and my blood pressure's been through the roof. It's emotional distress and upset and tiresome as well.
Since filming with Mary and Sam, Scottish Power have confirmed the account was closed, backdated to December. But their internal systems then treated the home as a vacant property, meaning letters were automatically sent to the occupier. After being contacted by STV News, the provider say they've manually intervened to correct this and are sorry for any issues this has caused. This site still looks fairly similar to how it did 8 months ago. And for those who own a property within this fence, it's just another headache that they don't need. Lewis Mickey, STV News, Barberton.
Other stories now, and new laws preventing under-18s from being sent to young offenders institutions will come into force in the first week in September, the Scottish Government has said. 17-year-old Jonathan Beadle died at Polmont Young Offenders Institution earlier this month, despite a law requiring 16 and 17-year-olds to instead be housed in secure accommodation being enacted in June. The number of long-term empty homes brought back into use has reached its highest annual total since 2010. The Scottish Empty Homes Partnership said almost 11,000 empty homes were reinstated last year. The Scottish Government declared a national housing emergency in May.
The longer a property is left empty, the more difficult it can be to bring it back into use. So it's important we try and tackle this problem as soon as possible. And these are homes that could be used to meet that demand and to meet the needs of the local population.
And 20 Carpetright stores are set to close in Scotland, with many jobs at risk after the company went into administration. However, stores in Bishopbriggs, Dumbarton, Dumfries and Edinburgh have been saved after they were bought by the Tappy Group in a rescue deal. The Scottish Conservatives' Justice spokesman Russell Findlay has launched his leadership bid, saying he embraces the challenge of turning his party's fortunes around. The MSP has become the first person to enter the race to succeed Douglas Ross. The current leader announced during this summer's election he would be stepping down. Here's our political correspondent, Ewan Petrie.
Russell Findlay has been the front runner to succeed Douglas Ross since the Tory leader announced he was standing down.
It's clear that we need to get on with the job of having a very positive and focused leadership contest, and that's why the time's right now to put my name forward.
They didn't listen to anyone else.
Mr Findlay is currently the party's Justice spokesman, having been elected an MSP in 2021. Prior to that, he was its Director of Communications.
You're effectively a continuity candidate in this. Well, we needed, as a party, to stand up to the SNP's relentless bid to break up the United Kingdom. But going forward, what we need to do is talk about policies that will help people across Scotland.
But your party is tarnished by all these things, though, aren't they? The lockdown parties, the two-child benefit cap, crashing the economy.
I'm relatively new to this, and I am looking to build a positive vision for the future of the Scottish Conservatives, and that's what I'm intending to do.
You've been there for 4 years, though. You were there for a lot of what I've just listed.
Well, the job of the next Scottish Conservative leader is to talk and build a case. There's a left-wing consensus at Holyrood. All the other parties are essentially the same. The Scottish Conservatives will stand up for working families and for the people of Scotland.
Mr Findlay believes the next Holyrood election in 2026 could be a defining moment.
Your party just got less than 13% of the vote in Scotland
I love
the last election. How are you going to turn that around?
I love hard work. I work hard, and I, embrace the challenge. It's, we believe in Conservative values. Many people across Scotland hold and believe in Conservative values, but they perhaps don't associate that with the Scottish Conservative Party, and I believe we can talk to those people and persuade them of our merits.
A consultation with party members on the process for the leadership race closes on Friday. Then the management board will outline the timetable for the contest, assuming another candidate enters the race. Ewan Petrie, STV News.
On to other stories in the West now, and a woman has been arrested in connection with the investigation into a former funeral director's in Glasgow. The probe had been launched into A Milne after families reported missing remains. Police say a 55-year-old woman was arrested after residential properties were searched in Springburn and Bishopbriggs. A number of items were also seized. The woman has been released pending further inquiries. A pedestrian has been struck by a bus near to Glasgow's Royal Infirmary Hospital. The incident happened on Castle Street, which was closed in both directions from Glebe Street to Warnock Street, but has now reopened. Scotland's third national park should be in Galloway and incorporate parts of South and East Ayrshire, it's been proposed. It was one of several areas that had bid to become home to a new national park. Further assessment work will now be carried out. Now, a £6.5 million cycle lane connecting the south side of Glasgow and the city centre has fully opened after years of construction. The 2-mile South City Way means cycling from Queen's Park to Trongate should only take around 12 minutes. Caitlin Hutchison has been testing it out.
It's a route already well known to many. In the past 3 years, Glasgow's South City Way has racked up 3.9 million cycle journeys. But the finished product has been a long time coming. Construction first started back in 2017 and the final phase only recently completed. To find out if it's been worth the wait, we came to Bike for Good and Glasgow's community cycling experts.
I think it's a really positive thing that there's this big sort of artery of cycle lane that goes from this part of the city where a lot of people live into the city centre. But I think there's a lot more work to be done, to be honest with you, creating a lot more cycle lanes like it. And I think also one thing that I think is really important is like linking them up well.
My friend's been away in China for about 10 years and you couldn't believe how he was amazed how you could cycle all the way from one side to the other side of Glasgow. So it shows you sometimes you don't realise the small changes when you live in a place, but when you go away and you come back, you realise it's huge, you know. So it's great improvement.
It's taken around 7 years and £6.5 million after delays during COVID, but now the route is complete. It connects Queen's Park to Trongate, a route that normally takes around 15 to 20 minutes by public transport. So the question is, can I beat the bus? Glasgow City Council says this route will help make the city centre more accessible. It may have delivered on the 12-minute journey time promise. OK. But some are concerned it could slow down business.
It's causing big tailbacks. We also have pedestrians complaining that it's quite dangerous, and we have cyclists saying that it doesn't quite do enough. So it doesn't seem to be thought through completely from beginning to end. It'd be nice to see them really improving the public transport network before they start with all these anti-car measures, which is hitting business very hard.
Glasgow City Council is determined to push forward with its active travel projects. But not everyone is sure things are moving in the right direction. Caitlin Hutchison, STV News in Glasgow.
Now, rush hour commuters were not amused this morning with delays to trains between Glasgow and Edinburgh. It's after a herd of 12 cows found their way onto the railway at Lenzie. Network Rail has confirmed they were all recovered safely. Now, something else for your amusement. Raman in the sports.
STV Sport, sponsored by the C.R. Smith Summer Sale.
I'll be kind, it's not John. Good evening. Open champion Xander Schauffele says he played the greatest round of his life to lift the claret jug at Royal Troon. At the climax of a week of drama, the American beat the rest of the field with a round of 65 to finish on 9 under par, 2 shots clear. Scotland's Callum Scott won the silver medal as the best placed amateur. Jamie Borthwick reports.
As the show prepares to roll out of South Ayrshire, it's a fond farewell to the Open Championship from the town of Troon.
The pubs and the restaurants, I think, have appreciated the extra custom.
People are fun, everyone was great, great tournament, great experience. I've had a really good time.
I thought it was lovely to see people coming into the town at night and using all the facilities we have.
Any real golfer that came here could play and get a good score. One of the guys that kept themselves on up the road.
It truly is an honour to win this. To me, it's big. To me, winning the Scottish Open was big because it meant my game can travel. So to double that up and win a major in Scotland's even cooler.
Unbelievable. I can't really put it into words because it was just one of those moments. It kind of feels like a blur. I wish I could go back out and do it again. But that's what makes those kind of moments in life really special, and it's one I'll cherish forever.
It was a week of ups and downs for Robert McIntyre, who couldn't rediscover the magic which saw him win the Scottish Open. top Scot was Ewan Ferguson, who finished tied 22nd, lifting him into the top 100 of the world rankings for the first time.
I was dying to play an Open in Scotland, and then to get in this one quite last minute as well. And a couple of weeks ago I got in, and then I'll have a week like this.
Playing in the country known as the home of golf. Next year, the Open heads to Royal Portrush in Northern Ireland. The earliest it could return to Scotland is 2027. It'll have to go some to live up to the drama generated at Royal Troon. Jamie Borthwick, STV Sport.
Football, and Rangers will face either Dynamo Kiev or Partizan Belgrade for a place in the Champions League playoffs. Philippe Clement's side are scheduled to be away for the first leg, which will be in Poland or Serbia. Dynamo Kiev currently can't play European games in Ukraine. In the Europa League qualifiers, should Kilmarnock defeat Cercle Bruges, they will take on either Norwegian side Molde or Denmark Silkeborg in the third qualifying round. And in the Conference League, if St Mirren overcome Valur, they will face go-ahead Eagles from the Netherlands or SK Brand from Norway.
We've seen today the potential of what you can get to, and both ourselves and Valur will be looking at it and thinking, you know, that's a fantastic tie. Fans will be looking at it, but we've got a big hurdle to overcome first. You know, it would be brilliant to give them that opportunity. Obviously, we'll have the home game here. They'll get that opportunity to see us play, but you want to extend it as long as you can.
Rugby, and Matt Curry says it was a special feeling to score his first try for Scotland in the victory over Chile on Saturday. Curry struck with a solo effort as the Scots won 52-11 in Santiago. Gregor Townsend's side now travel to Uruguay for the fourth and final test of the summer tour of the Americas.
It was a pretty special feeling. Enjoyed the game a lot. You know, Chile put up a good fight, and it was great for us to push on and kind of in the end get a decent result. Uruguay again, they'll be physical. Excited to go down there. You know, a lot of the boys will never have been to Uruguay, and I think it's a good challenge for us and a chance for us to take our next step.
Finally, in cricket, Scotland have defeated Oman by 8 wickets in the World Cup League 2 at Forfarshire. Charlie Castle took 7 for 21 as Oman were bowled out for 91. That's all your sport tonight. See you again tomorrow.
STV Sport, sponsored by the C.R. Smith Summer Sale.
It's been a rather warm day, hasn't it? Let's get the forecast now from Sean.
A dry start to the day will become increasingly splashy. TUI sponsors STV Weather.
Very good evening to you. I've got some good news for the next couple of days. Little ridge of high pressure going through, a little bump there in the isobars, which means tomorrow and also on Wednesday, a lot of dry weather. There'll be a few showers around, but hopefully fairly isolated and warm in the sunshine too. But the theme, of course, of the summer so far, very mixed pictures. So the next couple of days are decent. Thursday, Friday, we'll see some outbreaks of rain, turning a little bit fresher as well. So first part of the week better. Not so nice towards the end of the week. Today, though, we've had a lot of cloud around, leftovers of a weather front, shower outbreaks of rain still continuing across central and eastern parts. The risk over the next couple of hours of a few heavier bursts, perhaps running into likes of Glasgow, Renfrewshire, North and South Lanarkshire and Ayrshire. But all of that clears away eastwards overnight into the North Sea. And then tomorrow, well, there we have it. Nice dry picture for you tomorrow. Plenty of sunny spells. Just a small chance of a few isolated showers cropping up. The main risk for us, I think, will be across South Lanarkshire, but for most of us, it is a dry day, sunshine and warm too. 21, 22 degrees Celsius, North Lanarkshire into Glasgow, Inverclyde, Renfrewshire and Dumbartonshire, probably top spots tomorrow. So yes, feeling nice tomorrow with that sunshine. A little bit more cloud coming in later on Wednesday, along with some showers, and we'll see some more general rain spreading, I think, during Wednesday night into Thursday. That's when we start to see a bit of a change. Thursday, the risk of some heavy bursts of rain coming through, also turning a bit fresher as well. Bye.
TUI sponsors STV Weather.
And finally, the glitz and glamour of Bollywood has landed in Edinburgh as filming for a hotly anticipated new blockbuster gets underway. Son of Sardar 2 will be filmed across the capital over the next 6 weeks, and its directors are desperate for locals to star in it, as Laura Alderman has been finding out.
In a usually quiet Edinburgh street, this traditional Indian Hindu wedding procession, known as a barat, is in full swing. But it's all for the cameras. Some of India's biggest film stars have landed in the capital to shoot Son of Sardar 2, a romantic comedy sequel to the 2012 Bollywood blockbuster. Its producers have fallen in love with Edinburgh and say their audience will too.
The audience wanted something new, something vibrant, something fantastic that they haven't seen before. And if you'll see how fantastic it looked when we were filming at Royal Mile with the colours of our culture and the uniqueness of the architecture of Edinburgh, and it was a marriage made in heaven. And trust me, when our audience are going to see this, they're going to love Edinburgh more than they already do.
And locals are being encouraged to get involved in all sorts of different roles.
We have done some street casting. We have picked up people from the street and asked them if they're interested. We have spoken to the people at the hotels here, and we need people from Scotland to be a part of the film, and we would love them to join us.
The crew have tried to source everything as locally as possible, from the materials to the dancers.
We decorated the car today, and we've got a few more decorations with them lined up. I mean, Edinburgh is such a lovely, lovely place, and Bollywood, to incorporate Bollywood, is just absolutely amazing. It's good for our city, it's good for Scotland, and it's great that Bollywood chooses Scotland.
It is so much fun, as I'm Punjabi and the movie's also Punjabi, so it's all cast, it's everyone Punjabi here, so I'm just being connected to my culture.
It's great. Actually, it's great. The energy is electrifying, and we're just loving it.
It's just a good time. It's a good time. And most importantly, the catering, the food is amazing. It's the best Indian you're going to find anywhere, guaranteed.
But the party doesn't stop here. The cameras will keep rolling across the capital for the next 6 weeks, firmly placing Scotland on the Bollywood blockbuster map. Laura Alderman, STV News, Edinburgh.
Oh, looks very exciting. Well, that's all for now from all of us on the team. Enjoy the rest of your evening, and we'll see you again tomorrow. Bye-bye.